Well, hello, my favorite Math 8 kiddos doing distance learning presently. It's Mr. Mock. We have our sixth module this week, and here are the video notes that I would like for you to have to help out, okay? So we're shifting gears. We had done some 2 weeks worth of linear systems, and you all did, actually it was more than that, I think, because we had graphing, and then we did substitution method for 2 weeks. Anyway, you guys did really great with that, and I want to shift gears and go to something that is typically quite popular with 8th graders, which is looking at volume, okay? So just as a review, what is volume? Volume is the space inside a three-dimensional object. And we could say the cubic space inside a three-dimensional object, okay? And I say the cubic space because I really want you to imagine if you take a three-dimensional shape, like a box, when we're talking volume, we're talking about like how many little cubes are going to fit in it. All right. And those cubes are basically, is it an inch by inch cube? Like all cubes that are, an inch, wide, long, and high? Is it a foot? Are we doing cubic meters? Are we doing cubic centimeters? So we're just kind of looking at how many cubes are going to fit inside of this thing. Okay. That's basically what we're looking at. Now, you guys are probably very familiar with, volume of something like a box, right? So if I were to just sketch a 3D box real quick, something like this. Okay. There's a box, and you wanted to do the volume of that box. You would have a length, a width, and a height. And you guys are probably thinking, well, that's great. That's length times width times height. Yeah, you're right. Volume is typically, when you're talking about a box, is just the length, the width times the height. But I kind of want you to think about it in a different way because we don't always just get to deal with boxes, right? For example, today we're dealing with a cylinder. Sometimes you could, for example, have something like this, where it is what is called a triangular prism. So you don't have a length, width, and height. It doesn't work as well that way, right? We have to do something else, okay? So the way that I want you to think about how to calculate the volume of a shape is I want you to think about, you take, volume equals the area of the base, and you're multiplying it by the height of the object. Okay, so let's think about this. If you think about this box, the area of the base would be this little part right here, which would be length times width. And then multiply by the height, which is how you get the length times width times height. I don't know, that's pretty cool. Now, for this one, let's say we can call this the height, we can call this the length, and we can call this the width over here, right? So in this particular example, you would probably want to call this the base because that's what it's sitting on based on how I drew it, but that's not the base. The base is actually the triangle because it matches on the other side. So when we're talking about base, we're looking for where is it the exact same. So in this case, I'd want to do the area of the triangle, area of the base. So now we need to do an area of a triangle times the height, or in this case, it actually wouldn't be the height, it would be the width. All right. So it can't, height, if we set it up, if we were to stand this up, then we would switch it. It would be, the height would be here, the width would be there. So I think we'd have to stand it up, pick it up and go whoop, and set it on the triangular piece. Whoop. All right. Anyway, so now we're going to talk about the formula for the volume of a cylinder. So we need to think about a cylinder. All right, so let's take a cylinder, and I'll just sketch one out real quick here. Let's go this way, and we'll draw down. We'll go dotted line there, here, and we're going to have to know the radius, okay? Or the diameter. Diameter and radius. Radius is half the diameter, so let's maybe make that note. Remember, radius is half the diameter. Remember that. That's going to be key. You're going to need to know that, okay? So when we're talking about the volume of a cylinder, if we go back to this, we need to do the area of the base, right? So volume equals area of the base times the height. Well, in this case, my base is a circle. So I need to know the area of a circle times the height. The area of a circle, so in this case, the area of a circle is pi r squared. That's how we do the area of a circle. Now, pi is typically known as 3.14. That's how they're going to have you using it in Khan Academy, is 3.14. And then r stands for that radius, right? Radius is half the diameter. Diameter goes all the way across a circle through the center. And then it's times the height, which we sometimes just write as h, all right? So overall, when you're doing the volume of a cylinder, it's pi r squared h. Now, this is kind of a very calculator-friendly lesson. You're really open to using a calculator to help you with this stuff. In fact, I encourage it. However, I do expect you to show your work for the problems you're doing. But Mr. Mock, how do I show work if I'm using a calculator? Great question. Let me show you. So here's an example. I have a cylinder, and I want to calculate the volume. Volume equals pi r squared h. So I write down the formula. I need to know what is r. R is, let's see, this is the diameter because it goes all the way across. Radius is half the diameter. So r is going to be 4 divided by 2 or 2. And then I need the height. The height is 6, okay? So now I'm going to plug that in. So this is the work I expect to see. Equals pi times radius is 2 squared, height is 6. So then the work continues. 2 squared is 4 times 6 times pi, 24 times pi. Now, this right here, you could actually leave it as this. This is called pi notation, right? Khan Academy says it's okay to leave your answer like this. I'm fine with it as well. As you get to geometry in a couple years, this is going to be a very perfect answer because if you decide to not use pi notation and then you replace pi with 3.14, 3.14 is a rounded version of pi, which means it is no longer accurate to that decimal because you're going to have to round. So you do 24 times 3.14 with your calculator. You end up getting a volume then of 75.36, and that would be cubic feet, which you'd write like that. Okay, so you have, this would be pi notation. This is just multiplied out. This is a rounded answer. This one would work too. Khan Academy will accept either version of this. Don't forget this would also be feet cubed as well. 24 pi feet cubed. But that would be an example of how to do this. This is what I expect to see work shown, and I want to see you take a picture of that and post it to Classroom. That's going to be the best way for me to see that you are truly getting this, okay? Let me know if you have questions. I hope you all are doing well. I miss you tons. I look forward to our rotation time in the coming days, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.